Hey everybody, it's Professor Diffley, History 114, Module 3. This is lecture video 9. We're getting towards the end of this here again. Trying to provide you as much information. I want to be in class with you, as unfortunately I can't. Remember that, again, the videos, it seems like a long list of them. Each one's only 15 minutes. Look at it this way. 4 of them equal one Monday, Wednesday, Friday class. So look at it that way, right? That's 8 of them make just over one Tuesday, Thursday class. So again, I know it looks like a lot. I'm trying to, I want you to hear my voice. I want to be, wish I was in the classroom being able to do this and talk and, not lecture at you as I have to do here. But yeah, I want to give you the information. Again, I'm trying to give you in multiple ways. You have the required videos, you have the lecture videos, you have the notes. So again, it does seem like a lot, but remember, it is a relatively short time. But I've had students say that, but they then often think about it this way. 4 of these videos is one Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, right? So it's not as bad as it looks. I get it, though. But that's why I give you 2 weeks, too, to do this. Just keep that in mind. So, all right, back to this. King Philip's War. Just getting into the fights here and some of the where this gets really bloody and turned into massacres. This is the Bloody Brook, as it becomes known as, September 18th, 1675. The war has been going on for a bit now. Native forces ambush a convoy of farmers from Deerfield who are heading down to Hadley. Right, so this is up north. Hadley and Deerfield. Hadley is just south of Amherst, right? UMass Amherst. Deerfield is north of there. They're escorted by soldiers from eastern Massachusetts, grain south for safekeeping, again, from Deerfield to Hadley. They are ambushed. Everybody but one man dies, and it's 60 men die. It's what becomes known as the Bloody Brook Massacre, right? And so this furthers the idea that the natives are, barbarians, and, this is going to further and really egg on some to fight even further. Some would argue, though, right, the native, we could call a massacre here, this ambush. How is that different than the Pequot, the burning of the Pequot village at Mystic, right? So again, these things are always about perspective, and that's part of history, is trying to see it from both sides, right? And then make your own determinations here. But nonetheless, it's called the Bloody Brook Massacre. Now, again, what's interesting is, right, the attack at Mystic is, from the English perspective, is called an attack. The Pequot's called a massacre because, again, most of them were, unarmed at the time, and so were these people. So the English call it a massacre, where the natives would have called this a battle. You see, so naming things matters, the frame you do it, but it also about your perspective. Here, this is one of the original, of the Bloody Brook memorials here. It's a slab, perhaps really is the oldest surviving monument to a veteran in America. And this is the King Philip's War. That these historians there view this as arguably the oldest surviving monument to veterans there. And this is for grave of Captain Lathrop and men slain by the Indians in 1675. There's a sort of a mass grave there. It's been later moved, but you could still find this slab up in what is the Deerfield area today. It's actually pretty much in front of somebody's house. It's kind of weird. But here's more monuments. Later in 1838, you're going to get a commemoration of this, right? Of this massacre there. It's erected in 1838 to commemorate this there, and it shows it. I don't know why that was weird that one came up second there. It's a marble obelisk. Again, soldiers of Deerfield and other places here, and they were killed in this war. And so part of what happens to Deerfield too, South Deerfield now, it is on the edge of English settlement with the natives there. It had been burned on September 12th by Metacom's forces. Again, on the 18th, the men returned to remove their grain. This is where the Bloody Brook massacre occurs, the ambush. Now, up to this point, it was called the Muddy Brook, and then it becomes the Bloody Brook. And this is what the brook looks like. There's an actual picture, early 1900s of what this battle So this is why is it called the Bloody Brook? Is they were caught as they were crossing. The blood from the dead soldiers turned it red, so it becomes Bloody Brook is the idea. But then you have these others. Now remember again, I was talking about how you call these things, right? A fight, a battle, or what do you call it? Or a massacre. December 19th, the English from Plymouth, Mass Bay, and Hartford. Springfield refuses to get involved. John Pynchon, William Pynchon's son, again wants to keep relations as best he can with them. Refuses to join this attack. It's a preemptive attack against the Narragansett, who up this point had not joined in the war yet, right? They're not even getting involved. They're trying to stay out of it. The English see them as trying to will eventually get in. They also see an advantage to take them out. And it's called the Great Swamp Fight. To the Narragansett, it's a slaughter. English colonists killed the entire village of 600 men, women, and children and elderly. Again, very similar to the Pequot War there. The Narragansett joined the war as a result and destroyed numerous towns and killed scores of colonists, right? But, it's interesting. At the time, what was focused upon is the Narragansett destroying the towns and the colonists there. Right? That they were again brutal and savage, and this is something you often see in the historical record. And the conversation is who is truly barbaric or savage here? Is it really just the purview of one side? Did both create massacre? The answer is yes, right? They both did pretty bad things in each time. But you'll see, it's interesting. They'll attack in a town. They will kill numerous colonists. But you never get mass slaughter on the part of the Indians, the natives, as you do against the English and the colonists. But the war comes to Springfield, October 5th, 1675. Weaquan, Hadley Sachem. So this is what's interesting. It's not even necessarily the Agawam and those from Orinoco and all them. What happens is essentially people have to pick sides in all this. And this is really covered in the reading. Native groups begin to pick sides. They begin to really, some of them decide they don't want to fight with the English. Some do. Some see them, being pushed off the land. But again, this is a regional war. So the Hadley Sachem reads from a fortified position on Long Hill, which is now the Springfield Long Meadow line. There's actually a monument up there that approximates where the fortified position is, probably an encampment with the palisades over it. And they decide to attack Springfield. And Springfield is left undefended. Why? Pynchon had moved his militia to Hadley. Why? Because, that's where a lot of the war was taking place at this point. So he moves the soldiers from Springfield up there because there's a belief of a possible attack up there. Seems to be a ploy by the natives. It leaves Springfield really undefended and open and vulnerable. And so what happens is, they burn most of the city. That's what means by raise. The native Weaquan and others burn the city. But many of the people of Springfield, the residents, survive. Why? Hiding in the fort. In Pynchon's home. They also hide in Morgan's home and others. Morgan is still here defending the city. For what eventually goes on throughout the winter is a city is essentially under siege. There's going to be sporadic raids on Springfield. But this also begs the question, right? If the English burned the villages, the natives didn't, and there's always a question: why didn't they? It's unclear, right? I mean, it could have changed the course of this, but yeah. So here's some more depictions of it. So these are just to show you again. I threw this in there just to show you the different. English place names, right? This actually should have been a little bit higher, but some of these where we're going to get to Turner's Falls. But you can see some of the names. So Connecticut River becomes Connecticut. Chicopee, also Chicopee River there. Pocumtuck, and that's Deerfield. And just to give you an idea of where these are. So let's talk about the Pecumsquat Massacre or the Falls Fight. Again, depends on what side you're going to be on here, what you're going to call this. So this is May 18th, 1676. So this is after Bloody Brook. This is after the attacks on Springfield. So Pecumsquat Falls. We talked about this a bit with the natives in the native peoples in the last module. It was in the reading. It's here there. To the first, second module. This is up where, and this is Turner's Falls, essentially what it is today. It wasn't called that then. This is it's up by Deerfield. You can see where it is there. This area had been a site of native fishing and gathering, going back to the Paleo Indians, right? Some of the why it's where the river bends and the uh, and the rocks that slows it down. There are fish runs. There used to be salmon runs up this and all that. This was a place the natives have been coming to for millennia, and they were gathering there as well, as sort of to gather supplies, to take a break, find shelter, that sort of a view. What happens is Turner and his men march up from the south, down by Deerfield, all the way up to Pecumscut. Again, one of the names of the falls here is, and this speaks to more of the native, before we get into Turner again, native oral history, right? We have the story of the beaver creation, one of the creation stories is the creation of Lake Hitchcock from, that seems to match the archaeological record. Pecumscut means the place where fire bursts from the ground. Interestingly, the Pecumscut Falls is a fault line area. So that means in the ancient past, lava probably did come through this area because, again, Mount Tom is an ancient volcano, too. Don't forget that. And so this just says, how did the natives know this? But it remains in their oral tradition. But it just goes to show how long this was a place of gathering for the native peoples there. So happens, Turner and his men catch the people by surprise. The native groups there, they kill on the first attack around 200 to 300 native men, women, and children. Just about everybody unarmed. Eventually, though, the natives, the Native Americans counterattack. Does not go well for Turner and his men. They have to backtrack. They try to fight their way back to Deerfield. Many are Turner is killed in the fight, things like that. Historical significance of this battle massacre. This is a breaking point for the Native Americans of this region. This is really just completely the last straw of demoralizing. The war is more or less over at this point. Native resistance begins to lessen. People begin to flee the area more and more. And so this is really, the end of towards the end of King Philip's War, really ensuring that natives are going to be driven from the New England, or at least the central Massachusetts, western Massachusetts, the Connecticut River Valley area, are pretty much going to be gone from this point in terms of people are going to come back, but many of them are going to leave. Let's put it that way. The falls are named after Turner as a result, but he is killed on the way back. This is a depiction of the Pecumscut Massacre, or the Battle of Great Falls, as is known to the English. And this is from one of the readings I gave you there. This is Turner. This just shows you maps of where, their march up there, their hectic retreat back, and how they're attacked and caught by native forces and eventually killed as well. Here's the monument for for Turner there, and this was dedicated in 1905. So you can see this comes much, much later there. Again, more, and you can see the fights up here. And eventually, this is really towards the end of it there. The end of King's Philip Wars. The colonists after this era systematically hunt down and capture or kill all the native leaders. Again, further breaking the will of the natives to peoples to fight on. Metacom is betrayed by some of his own men. He's shot twice by the colonists. And after it, what they do is they draw and quarter Philip's body. They cut his limbs off. That's what draw and quarter, and decapitate him. So they cut his head, his arms, his legs off. Sent him to different parts of the colony as sort of trophies. The head was brought to Plymouth on a pike, paraded through the center of town, and put up in the middle of town as a warning to natives if they native groups and native peoples if they dared come to Plymouth. Again, much more brutal than you probably heard before, but that's what it was. Death toll in this war: 600 colonists dead. Again, a large percentage of the colonists comparatively to other American wars. 8,000 Native Americans are killed. Thousands of Native Americans are actually hunted down and captured and sold into slavery in the Caribbean. There's a depiction of taking Metacom's head to Plymouth there. All right, so we will stop there, and the next, and I think the last video will be, we'll start here with the history. the English attack, and it's led by Captain William Turner.